Hello. Oh, that's a beautiful sunset. That's very nice. I gotta show you guys this. Can you see it reflecting off my face? Let me see. See this? Sunset. The fires are probably helping this. In, let's see, Sonoma, Napa Valley, Napa wine country. I don't know who knows about all this that's going on, but Sunday night, there were all these fires in Napa. And crazy wildfires, crazy wind. The next day, the stats were that 1,500 structures were burnt and 10 people were killed. And I was in San Francisco staying with friends, and I woke up. Well, the dog was going crazy all night, and Eden was doing her shamanistic house protection thing. I think a house actually burned down across the street as well, but that was unrelated to the Napa thing. But then the next day, we went outside. There was ash inside the house. There was ash all over my car outside. And yeah, so lots of chaotic weather and fires in Northern California. Not Northern California, it's more North Central. No, it is Northern California. I don't know. But yeah, so if you can send some good vibes those people's ways, I'm sure that would be appreciated. These days are strange. They're very strange. They're strange for me. I have a very unique position as far as the stuff that goes on, or apparently is going on, because I'm connected with all of this stuff. I feel it. I feel these things moving, but I'm also not connected in the sense that I'm completely outside of it. I'm much more of a witness, observer of these things than a direct participant. Because if I was involved with any of these things, you know, all of this stuff that's out there in the media, all the things that the whistleblowers are talking about, etc., etc., if I was somehow involved, I have zero memory of it whatsoever. And yet I am still drawn to the stories. I'm drawn to Aug's story and the Max Spears, the James Casbolt, the Donald Marshall, and not to mention, on top of that, even without having direct memory, if I was involved in those things, which I don't, any person that has a mind that's not pure shackled, and they have some individual autonomy and some self-control, can look out, see the system, see the systems, see government, see corruption, see crazy things happening with celebrities, all of the symbols and hand signals, erratic behavior, all this stuff. it's very obvious that what is given as far as education and news just has no relevance to what's actually going on. That's my perspective. I don't see any relevance whatsoever. Like none. There's this world that's shown on TV, and then if you get down and you talk to the people, there's personal lives going on. And the things shown on TV and the personal lives have very little intermeshing or connection with one another. And all this stuff. This is the identity thing, the straw man. None of it is difficult to see whatsoever. It's just not. It's plainly out there. I mean, take for instance, any time you go anywhere, to any business, anything, okay, if you're not hanging out with friends or family, okay, your friends and family don't ask for your driver's license when you hang out with them, right? I would hope not. You know? Everywhere else, they want numbers from you. Are you a number? Do you feel like a number? Do you feel like, am I whatever the license number is? Am I my social security number? Am I my birth date? Like, these things are obvious, right? And it's okay, those things are fine to sit there and be there as like little markers, you know. It's like I made a little notch on the side of the riverbank as I passed by to show that I had been there. And now all of a sudden you go off to the wigwam and you want some jerky or whatever, and the chief's like, hey, you got to bring me over there to that riverbank and show me that notch you made. I need that. And you're like, wait, why? Well, that identifies you. Why? Because like that marked a spot of my passage? Like, how does that identify? You know what I'm saying? It's this is why when I talk to you guys, okay, this is why I have fun with it myself, and I play, and I tease, and I laugh, okay, because the official way of doing things is so incredibly boring is a bad word, like non-acknowledgement of you as a living being, okay, that part of it. The fact that that is the norm, the fact that when you see a person, they literally want you to spit out numbers, the fact that they're barely seeing you, and if you don't spit the numbers out, then they say, I'm sorry, you can't be here, and you're gonna have to go somewhere else. They don't really specify where else they want you to go, but they just don't want you to be in that particular spot doing the particular thing that you wanted to do, right? And when I combine that with my own personal experience with real live human beings that don't appear to be robots to me, okay, when I contrast these two situations, on one hand there's somebody that wants numbers, okay, that's all they want. So long as you can produce the numbers, well, go on ahead, you know, numbers and magic spells and stuff. And on the other hand, there's these living human beings, hearts pumping, you know, there's soul essence, spiritual connection, okay. That's the only thing of importance that happens here in the realm, is what goes on between you and those people, those real life flesh and blood, spirited, souled human beings. And they don't want numbers from you, okay? They don't. Or not an internet. Why the fuck would I want a number? Like, numbers are fucking boring. And on the other hand, these guys, that's all they want. They don't give a shit about, like I said before in the other video, they want to have something. They don't even necessarily give a shit if it's the correct number. Like, they want that first number to be right, like the social or the driver's license. And then the secondary numbers and signatures and all this, you know, you can write Bugs Bunny in your signature. You can, you know, you have leeway. They just want something going in the box so their paperwork is correct. As if like this little piece of paper that has some scribbles on it really means a whole lot. I mean, that's something that's they want to be able to hold up. You know, if later on you're like, no, fuck this thing that we agreed on, I don't agree with that anymore. Like that's not suiting my life particularly anymore. And with a friend, the friend will say, yeah, of course, you know, do your thing. If it's not serving you, then drop it immediately. Don't even think twice about it. And the point of these papers is if you want to go back to this institution and say, well, this thing isn't serving me anymore, I want to drop it. They're like, nope. Let me go search in my vast library base of papers that has all sorts of magic marks on it, and I want to pull this up and throw it in your face. And if you don't agree that's a soul binding contract that you must abide by, even if it doesn't serve you anymore, then I'm going to bring this to this magistrate dressed in black, you know, the corpse guy, the corpse enforcer or whatever. And he's gonna say, he's gonna look at the same scribbles and say, well, this has created a joinder between you and this ineffable agreement that just is gonna last forever, or however long, you know, you project it out in the future. And I don't give a shit if it doesn't serve you anymore. That's just what's gonna happen. Okay, and that just violates harmony on so many levels, because if as a living human being that uses your brain to make decisions, and things come up within you naturally, and you need to change, or you need to change paths or move along, do something, you know. These guys come up and they wave papers with magic marks on them, and they say, no, you can't do that. You can't make that change. This is why when I speak to you guys, I speak I don't do the stupid numbers thing. This is ridiculous. Like, imagine if every time you wanted to watch a video of mine, you had to input your driver's license and your social, you know, and you had to sign a contract that you're not going to disclose this and that about Gary. You know, like, the distance between the things, between these contracts, these dead magic marked papers, and the living human being is immeasurable. Okay, and we as the living beings are disrespected by these magic marked papers. That's the short of it. It's simple. We're not even in that realm. We're not even in that arena. That's a dead arena. Why the fuck would I want to go there? And it is being forced on us. I do have these numbers attached to me. I do produce them if I need to. Because I'm not living in a cave. I'm not starting an anarchy or a rebellion. I do like to get along with the humans, so I do these certain things. But I see that stuff, that record system, as so unrelated to who I am, that it's like, okay, you know, scribble, scribble, scribble. Here's some magic marks for you. You know, just don't bother me too much. I like. You know what I'm saying? It's the silliest shit ever. Like, I don't get it. I mean, us being in an upside down dream realm where, you know, good is bad and bad is good, and you know, Orwell's 1984 is coming true, and doublespeak and thought monitoring and precognition, crime, punishment, all this stuff, you know, this is all science fiction stuff. And half, you know, the fringe elements are saying this stuff's all real, and then what you see with your eyes, you see evidence of it being real. You see the stuff creeping up. You see the chips being everywhere. You see the card readers adapting themselves. You see the chip insertion adapting itself. Okay, it's coming in the public arena, but it's coming very slowly. And people don't, I actually don't know what people talk about, because when I was in all these institutions, when I was in school, nobody talked about shit. The people just want to live. Like, they just want to have fun with their friends and play sports and dick around, and, you know, like, that's what humans actually want to do. They don't actually want to get all involved in this fucking technology nonsense and cloning bullshit and aliens and vril and, you know, parasitic leechers or whatever the fuck. All this stuff, like, humans don't really want to do that, aside from having a nice, good horror story read with a nice sci-fi novel sitting by the fireplace. We don't want to do that. Okay, we don't actually want to live the horror stories that Philip K. Dick writes about. But we're getting the pull on this other hand, this alternative news and just whistleblowers. You know, they sound like, you can tell they're telling truth. Like, it's not just like it's 100% made up. So there's, for those of us who haven't directly experienced these things but yet feel drawn to it or feel compassionate toward the situation for whoever is actually being put through this stuff, we are a bit at a, like, okay, I don't see any of this stuff happening. I don't have memories of being in any of these places, but yet it strikes something within me, and I feel compassion for the situation and for whoever is going through it. And I feel responsibility as a human being to not allow torture and things like that to happen, and to not stay silent about it if I catch a whiff of it. So it's a difficult position that people are placed in that are not directly or with direct memories cognizant of these situations. Because, like I said before, for the most part, your average human, I mean, just think of like an animal or something, like a chipmunk, you know? Is that little guy sitting there thinking about cloning and interdimensional travel and fucking with timelines, time travel, trying to look to see what the end of the world is going to be, like all this stuff? No, he's sitting there chewing on an acorn, or he's having a ball, like dancing on telephone lines or something, you know? Like, it's a pulling of us as just, we are simple. We're not complicated. We need love, you know. We need some pleasures. We need to feel fulfillment in our life. We need to feel like we're here for some reason, not just a random collision of molecules. And the problem is that we're also being fed until you learn to, like, glean and gain all of your information from inside yourself, which is where you're going to feel fulfilled. Until then, if you're still pulling from the external to feel fulfilled, you're going to be spinning like a top. Your mind is going to be spinning like a top. Because for every argument that says this thing, or that references this particular thing Jesus said, or says whatever biblical prophecy is coming, you know, being fulfilled right now, well, for every one of those, there's something on the other side that says the complete opposite. And guess what? It makes just as much logical sense as the thing that said the other side. You can see both sides. So if you get into this trying to decipher truth from external means, well, you got your top and you went bzzz, and now you're doing this. Spinning. And for people like me, I'm not doing that. I'm not looking into the external to see where truth is or to see what my purpose is. I'm looking inside to see what the hell's going on. And when I look inside, I don't see answers to all of these things. I feel silence. I feel peace. I feel an allowance of the external drama to go on, and an inner harmony that sits still within all of it. And that's what I give you guys, or that's what I attempt to give you guys through and women and girls, through my videos. I give you that silence. I give you the unperturbed nature of an individual who's not being pulled and twisted and turned by the external, even though I am. I mean, it is affecting my physical body. It's not affecting here. I'm not worrying about it. It's annoying sometimes, but I know what the techniques are to center myself and to harmonize. And that's what I do. I do it daily. I communicate with source, with you know, the creator, whatever the true creator is. I reach out for that. And I communicate with it. Him, her, it, whatever. All of existence. Any names, all names are insufficient for what actually is. And that stillness and that silence is never touched. It's never touched. Can't be touched. The chattering mind doesn't even know it's there because it's all it hears is its own, you know, questions and yapping and this and that. That's all it hears. It doesn't hear. How can you hear silence if all you're listening to is your own voice blabbing and asking questions that can't be answered? You don't. And a lot of times we also need to somehow find out like a fix for what appears to be horrible things going on in the world, because we feel compassion for the beings that are going through this stuff. We feel compassion for whoever's being tortured. All this stuff, if it is going on as it seems to be going on in some aspects, in some dimensions, if it's underground, if it's wherever, okay, it's not out in the open, so to speak, where you see people literally being like taken over by Vril, but there are signs of this everywhere. I mean, you just do a little bit of research, and it's everywhere. And the funny thing is that even like fundamentalist religious people who always talk about Jesus and how you need to be saved, they're not talking about something different than what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about what you receive or what you are when you loosen your mental stranglehold on all of the apparent stuff going on. When you become saved by Jesus, what do you receive? You receive eternal peace. Peace that passeth all understanding. Right? It's not different from what I'm talking about. But I'm not saying you can only receive it through me. I'm saying this is how I get it. This is how I have done my path up to this point, and you can try that yourself, and maybe that will work for you. You could try Jesus. I tried Jesus. I still talk to Jesus sometimes. I won't necessarily say Jesus, but I'll say, you know, Christ consciousness, or I'll think of the golden rule if I start getting selfish and egotistical, because I start doing that too. But the thing is that I know within myself, I don't feel this hate, this annoyance with everybody. That comes up sometimes, but that's the minor piece of me. The majority of me wants to connect and interact with people in a meaningful way. That's what I try to do. And if I'm having a relationship with somebody, I'm not talking romance, but if I'm having a relationship, like you're talking with somebody, you're delving into that person, there's such a fine-tuned sense going on. If that person's all right, your radar is so finely tuned. If you sense anything about that person that is off, or you sense that they feel some sadness, or they feel something that they're holding and they want to let it out. Well, you want to communicate with them that you see and feel that, and you want to help them with it. And it's the smallest little inkling of it. And that, when compared to these ideas that we're given about original sin and about the need to cleanse of this thing, this whatever that we're born with. Okay, I don't feel that in me. I don't. I've tried to concoct it to make my storyline fit with this given stuff, you know, but didn't create it. I never felt it.